Might Donald Trump be the dumbest and most racist person to ever live in America, let alone get elected for President of the United States?
She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
He claims to have known Kamala Harris in a previous life and says that back then she was Indian and now that she's black. It's incredible that a man can say these things and not realize how offensive he is. Or maybe he does. Maybe he's now so much on the ropes that he is just appealing to the racist base of the MAGA Republicans and nobody else in the country. Kamala Harris was sworn in as vice president, the first woman, the first black American, and the first South Asian American to be elected into this position. You would have thought that the disgraced former president might want to consider that is an achievement that needs to be remembered.
You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner, a first question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful. I think it's a very nasty question. I have answered the question. I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a definition then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that?
How do you define DEI? He doesn't know what it is. DEI is a subject that has been on Republicans' lips for the last few years, and yet Donald Trump, the man supposedly leading the organization, clearly doesn't have any clue what it means. He's asking for a definition in the hope that she will get him out of a sticky situation and give him some guidance as to what he should be talking about. He is an empty vessel. All that's inside there is his own name and racism.
Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define it for me, if you would.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman.
I respect either one.
Not only does Donald Trump not understand the concept of DEI, of diversity, of equity and inclusion, but he doesn't understand the cultural significance of somebody identifying as black.
So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She has always identified as a black woman. She went to a historically black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that
I think somebody should look into that too when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
And so to have a former commander-in-chief be so overtly racist on a stage, surrounded by people of color and intelligent black journalists, trying to undermine them, trying to pull rank and asking for a definition of a phrase that he knows nothing about, How can you live in the modern world and not understand the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion? Something that every major organization, corporate company, and business is considering or has already implemented to make America fairer. So when Donald Trump says he wants to make America great again, he really means that he wants to make America white again. And it's people like Donald Trump who are the reason that people of color have struggled in America, struggled to get beyond being considered as second-class citizens. Donald Trump represents the worst bits of America, as if all of the worst elements, the things about America that all of us question, are the things that make up Donald Trump. He is like a voodoo doll of racism, and somebody who doesn't seem to show any signs of wanting to change or evolve or to become more open to the changing demographic in the United States. It's not just white people controlling everything and black people are either employed or working under the direction of white people.
When Time magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely. Sure. You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Their injuries included broken bones, at least one officer lost an eye, one had 2 cracked ribs, 2 smashed spinal discs, another had a stroke. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well, let me bring it back to modern day. Like about 5 days ago, we had an attack on the Capitol, a horrible attack on the Capitol. You saw the people that were protesting and spraying these incredible monuments, bells, lions, all these magnificent limestone and granite with red paint, red spray paint, that will never actually come off, especially in the limestone. It will never, I'm a builder, I know about this stuff. It'll never, you'll see it in 100 years from now. They viciously attacked our government. They fought with police. They fought with them much more openly than I saw on January 6th. What's going to happen to those people? What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed that city?
But sir, my question is on those.
What's going to happen to the people that tried to bring
rioters who assaulted officers.
You have to
would you pardon those people?
What's going to happen? Oh, absolutely, I would.
You would pardon those?
If they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just well, they were convicted by a very tough system.
Donald Trump is so aggrieved that he didn't win the election that he cannot see how the United States and the rest of the world has evolved. These ancient, antiquated, racist tropes that Donald Trump thinks are funny are simply dog whistles, identifying him as the bigot, identifying him as the racist, identifying him for who he really is. And whilst he can pretend over the years, as he has done, oh, there's my African-American friend over there, making these kind of token references, thinking it will excuse his lifelong systemic racism, then he is deeply misguided. America has changed. We see people's color. We recognize the plight of people who are not white. We recognize the importance of acknowledging people's race, people's culture, and people's heritage. Gone are the days where you can say, oh, I'm not racist, I don't see color. See the color. Acknowledge the color and be proud that we live in a society where people are noticed and recognized and celebrated. Celebrated for our similarities, but celebrated more importantly for our differences. And Kamala Harris brings to the table a wealth of experience as a black woman. She talks about her culture. She talks about her parentage. She talks about her heritage. She talks about her husband. She talks about her stepchildren. We have to see this because it is a reflection of modern America and the rest of the world. And this idea that if you're not white and wealthy and Republican and a Christian nationalist, then in some way you are imperfect, does not wash.
I closed the border. And I do 2 things, because I can do a lot of things simultaneously. I close the border. We don't want people coming in. We want people to come in, Harris, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. They have to come in legally. I want people to come into our country, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. And I also have to stop the invasion. And remember, they're taking your jobs. These people coming in, are taking your job.
Project 2025.
I think we have to leave it there.
And his performance and behavior on stage. This interview that was supposedly supposed to, I don't know, make a connection with a black community? Who only knows? He was hostile, he was rude, he was offensive. He threw personal attacks and insults at black journalists the same way that he did throughout his presidency. He attempts to divide us further. He is somebody of a bygone age.
Oh, look at my African American over here. Look at him.
I'm Anthony Davis. You can catch me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast, on Wednesdays co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.